5 Star Live. Presented by Waffle House. East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live. On location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other games around East Tennessee. Your hosts, Jesse Smithy and Kevin Smith, with decades of experience covering and coaching high school sports, along with the 5 Star Preps team, will update you on games as they become final, and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5 Star Live.
Welcome in, everybody, to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. I am Jesse Smithy, your host tonight. We are indoors tonight, not at a high school football game. For the third year in a row, we will bring you the 5 Star Live Playoff Edition War Room Show, where we camp out tonight at Gold Star Nutrition up here in North Knoxville. We're going to monitor a lot of games tonight. We're going to bring you halftime reports, a few highlights at halftime, and keep those brackets updated throughout the night, keeping you informed as to who your favorite teams will be playing in round 1 and who you could be facing in round 2. But tonight we're going to be doing about a 30-minute pregame show here live on social media, and we're going to be joined by some special guests. And one team that doesn't have to worry about what their scenarios are tonight is Pigeon Forge. They played last night against Gatlinburg-Pittman, got a big 17-14 win over Gatlinburg-Pittman, and we are joined now by Scott Meadows, head football coach at Pigeon Forge High School. Scott, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And how is it a day later knowing that you have the 2 seed secured, you have the home field advantage there in round 1?
Well, I appreciate you having me, first of all, but it feels good. I mean, that was one of our goals going into the season, is to host the first round of the playoff game, and we met that. And it's the first time that we've been able to host the first round playoff game since 2015, so it's pretty big for us.
There was a lot of celebration on the field after the game, and it seemed like that moment meant a lot to your kids. Why is that?
Well, I mean, it's Gatlinburg-Pittman. I mean, and whenever that's just a big rival, and they're above the tunnel, we're below the tunnel, and there's just a good rivalry there. And we haven't beaten them in a while. And, last year we get beat twice by them. And it was a tough pill to swallow. And so we've been shooting for this game all year long. And luckily we came out and won the ball game.
Looking ahead to next week in round 1, I looked at some of the TSSAA football standings last night and even some today. Looks like maybe you guys are going to face the loser of Chucky Doak and West Green. Is that right?
Yes. And they're playing tonight at West Green, actually.
So how much have you and your staff kind of delved into film, huddle film, checking out both of those teams, whether it's today or even a week ago when you kind of start to look at the scenarios?
Well, we actually scrimmaged Chucky Doak early in preseason. So we've got some film on them already, and we've called around today and got a little bit of film on West Green. So we kind of started scouting both of them about the last 24 hours, I guess.
Your team has some playoff experience last year. Even look back to last year, you guys got a first-round win, I believe. And how much can this team draw off of confidence from last year and try to stick around a little bit longer in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, I think we can draw a lot off of it, because I mean, going into the preseason and the off season, I guess we'd say, it was just a little bit of different sense of confidence, and knowing that we can get there, and whenever we get there, we want to make some noise. And that's the way the guys worked all summer long and all through the preseason, and I'm just super proud of the way they're playing right now.
2 years ago, I remember sending you a text, maybe even a phone call, about 2 young men, Aiden Littles and Aiden Howard. We put together some underclassmen rankings and just players to watch, and I remember reaching out to you about those 2 young men. They went off last night. They had fantastic football games. Tell me about those young two guys and just kind of what they bring to Pigeon Forge football.
Well, I'll tell you, they bring a lot of hard work, first of all, and both of them are fantastic young men. And Aiden Howard is a little bit different player than Aiden Littles from the standpoint, Aiden Howard is more of a between the tackles guy, but he can also run off and lead you. But Aiden Littles, we can put. But he actually plays 3 different positions for us on the offensive side. Wow. And he plays some wide receiver, he plays some wing, plays some of our tailback, and so we can move him around a little bit more. And both of them, luckily, are underclassmen. One's a sophomore, one's a junior, and they're just getting better every single day.
You've coached a lot of great running backs, a lot of great skill players in your time coaching high school football in East Tennessee. When you look at the way Aiden Littles ran the football last night, they've got a lot of forward lean to him, and they certainly found open field quite a few times. So what gets you excited about his future?
The biggest thing is his work ethic, because he wants to be the best, and he knows that in his mind he's not there, and he continues to work and work and work to get better. And how you saw him last night during that ball game, that's the way he practices, because he wants to get better every single day. And the sky's the limit for him. It really is. And I just think that he's just a fantastic player.
You, of course, won a state championship in your time at Alcoa and have had so many other great runs in the postseason. How much changes for you mentally, emotionally, just getting your juices going for the playoffs once it arrives, maybe just even this weekend? Well,
there's a lot more sleepless nights. I'll tell you that. And we've really got to, as a staff, really whenever we come in on Monday with the players, really have everything down pat and ready to go. And because right now you're kind of in a kill or be killed situation. I mean, you stumble one week, you don't have the next week, you're done. So we want to leave no stone unturned. I mean, we want to make sure that we can have everything down pat.
Last thing with you, I saw just a few minutes ago on Twitter that one Alec Meadows tweeted out a photo of you and him together sharing that moment last night after that win over Gatlinburg-Pittman. Got to be special for you coaching with your son.
I'll tell you what, it really, as soon as you were telling me about it right then, I got Coach Hills, because, having him by my side on the sidelines and in the meetings and so forth, it's really special. I mean, it is unbelievably special. Just knowing, just watching your son grow, first of all, but then grow as an adult and in the coaching profession. It's just fantastic. Just seeing what he's doing, and he'll come to me and a lot of times it's kind of funny, because a lot of times whenever we're on the field, he don't want to yell out, "Hey, Dad," but and so. But he's got fantastic. He's got a enormous bright future as a coach, and he runs our weight program also, and he just takes control of that, and I'm super proud of him and everything that he stands for and how hard he works.
You didn't try to talk him out of going into coaching?
No, I didn't actually. He fell in love with it, and I think I think he could reach as high as he wants to reach. And I know he's my son, but just watching him as a coach, he's got the it factor. He really does, and wow. he's going to be something special.
Well, that's high praise from Scott Meadows. Scott, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Congratulations again on that win over Gatlinburg-Pittman, and best of luck to you guys next week in the 3A playoffs.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. That's Scott Meadows, head football coach at Pigeon Forge, and shout out to Scott. He didn't throw any juice back at my way. We picked against them on 5-star preps, doing our weekly predictions. We thought Gatlinburg-Pittman would probably win that game. Just given what Gatlinburg-Pittman had done over the last 3 or 4 weeks, just blowing out opponents. Really got that offense going. Whitman out there is just one of the better players in the area, one of the rising stars, and he got shaken up last night late in that game, and I'm not saying that was the difference, but Gatlinburg-Pittman now falls to, looks like a 3 seed, probably going to face the winner of Chucky Doak and West Green, and of course Pigeon Forge, the 2 seed, will host the loser of Chucky Doak and West Green. Both of those teams 5-4, 4-5, kind of. So it's kind of an even match. So that's just one of many games that we'll be tracking tonight. Alcoa, of course, has the 1 seed out of Region 2-3A ahead of Pigeon Forge. Looks like they're going to face Johnson County in the first round of the 3A playoffs. Of course, Alcoa has won 6 consecutive state championships in Class 3A, which just sounds ridiculous to say out loud. Looking down a little bit into Region 3, big championship match tonight between Loudon and Kingston. That game is on natural grass. It is raining outside. That stadium and that field at Kingston kind of sits down in a bowl. Could really be a mud fest out there tonight. And Loudon really only has a run game with its quarterback. They have one player other than Keaton Herrick, their quarterback, who has over 100 yards rushing this year. So if Keaton Herrick can't get it done on the ground and it's a wet football, could be seeing an upset. That's something we'll monitor tonight. So, we're going to have a halftime show where we're keeping you guys up to date with scores and what's going on in the brackets and what could possibly happen. And at the end of the show, we'll unveil the TSSAA football brackets and talk about some of the big things that happened tonight and what will be going on in the first round of the playoffs. So, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Greenville head coach Eddie Spradlin. We're going to talk about the Greenville Green Devils, who are going to be a number 1 seed in the 4A playoffs, trying to get back in the winner's circle at the state championship. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll talk with Eddie right here on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
Coker Rental Company is your hometown go-to spot to rent equipment and tools. We offer fast delivery on late model, low hour, boom lifts, excavators, track skid steers, scissor lifts, and more. Coker Rental Company prides itself on great customer service and providing the best equipment and tools at a reasonable rate. Give us a call today at 865-457-1478 and let us be your go-to rental company for your next project.
Men's Grooming Studio is Knoxville's premier barbershop. Conveniently located in the center of K-Town, Tapered will have you feeling and looking your best. We offer walk-in appointments, and we specialize in haircuts for both young and old. Our master barbers will give you the best haircut you can find in a style that is unique to you. Come and see us today or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. We are in North Knoxville at Gold Star Nutrition. Make sure you stop by them. support them. Come take a look at their shop. Just great gear, nutrition supplements. They got cryotherapy for a lot of athletes in the area, so make sure you're stopping by. Gold Star Nutrition has been instrumental in what we do with 5 Star Live, supporting high school athletics for about 3 years now here with us at 5 Star Prep. So just a great group of guys who own the shop, run the shop, veteran-owned, and so when you're supporting them, you're supporting what they've done for our country. So shout out to Jared, Daniel, and Jeremy, and all the guys here at Gold Star Nutrition for letting us do the Playoff War Room show. And as I mentioned before the break, we're going to be joined by a very special guest tonight, and that guest is Eddie Spradlin, head football coach at Greenville High School. And Eddie, you guys have an off week here in Week 11. Was that by design? Was that just because of just how everything shook out in scheduling?
Yeah, when we were making our schedule, we had Elizabeth in game 3, and us and another conference team had week 2 open, so we moved our conference game up there to week 2 just so I could play another game before that. So it's just how it ended up shaking out with the other non-conference games we picked up that we had this week open.
So if you could have had your druthers, you could have put it anywhere you wanted to, weeks 1 through 11. Ideally, given just the normal bumps and bruises, where would you ideally like a bye week?
Probably somewhere, mid-season, game 6 or 7, somewhere there would be good. But, we'll just see how this goes. It might be a good thing. We've been able to play, a tough schedule. We're getting a week to heal up, so that might be good for us.
You and I texted a little bit this week trying to figure out who you might play in the first round of the 4A playoffs. And even though you have an off week, I'm sure you're going to be pretty busy tonight tracking what's going on in Region 2 4A. And for all those who are watching who maybe don't know Region 2 4A, Anderson County has the 1 seed out of Region 2 4A. Greenville is in Region 1 4A. Then you have teams like Fulton, Carter, South Doyle, Gibbs, who are all vying and jockeying for playoff spots tonight. Fulton and Carter play a meaningful game. South Doyle and Gibbs play a meaningful game. And so, Eddie, I ask you, how do you monitor this? How do you track this or keep up with this tonight?
We've been playing that if and what this fall week to see where we might end up. But, how it's going to unfold is, like you said, it's got a big, on a couple of big games tonight. So, we'll follow those games there where we'll go. It's not going to be your average normal 4 versus 1 playoff game because it's such a tough region down there. You get, we could probably end up with a South Doyle team that's, been ranked in the top 5 of 4A, most majority of the year. Or you play a good Fulton team who's, hitting their peak right now. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us. Not going to be your typical round 1 game.
But normally you go into Week 11, you have at least an idea of probably 2 teams that you can maybe start to prepare for or watch them film on. Are you guys just taking a look at all of them? Or have you been kind of watching them all year, I guess?
Yeah, we've been watching some of those guys all year, just seeing different scores because we knew that region's a really tough guy. Majority of those teams have been playing 5A the past few years, so they're playing 4A. So we knew it was going to be a bigger challenge. It's always going to be a bigger challenge for Anderson County. Just to, we'll see. We knew what type of team they had and what they had coming back, so you could kind of judge with how they played against them. But it's been fun, just kind of tracking the last few weeks, see where it's going to unfold, and you still don't know nothing for sure until after the games tonight.
Greenville, of course, won state championships in 2017 and 2018. I'm sure there's a few holdovers, from that 2018 team that are on the roster this year. Have you seen any of those guys just providing leadership, or is this all just kind of a newness to them, or I don't know who's kind of guiding the way for this team?
Obviously, those kids were freshmen in 2018 when we won the last one. But some of those kids got some of that playing time during that year because like we were a really good football team there. We're not in many games during the regular season, so a lot of those freshmen got to play, and even a few of them got to play in the state championship game. But play time was minimal. I've got really good senior leadership. I've told a lot of people, we've had a really successful thing this year because how close this senior group is. it obviously starts off. Our key leader was Isaac Brown. He gets hurt in the first game against Central, but then you got kids like Mason Gudger, Jacoby Gillespie, Michael Pillar, all big senior leaders for us, team captains. And like I said, there's a ton of seniors. I can go on and on how close this group is. We got 20 seniors. A lot of those guys have been 4-year guys for us. So it's a really close-knit, high character group that, has really led this football team. You got really good, some junior leadership with Brady Quillen and John Day Dabb stepping in there. So, it's been a really close grip, tight group. So it's been good with the leadership, and, those guys are, hungry and excited to, get to the playoff stretch where, it matters win or go home. They're real excited at this point.
You guys go 10-0, and I know you don't take that for granted at Greenville. It's celebrated. But at what point do you, as the coaching staff, start to prepare the guys mentally for the switch in mentality for the playoffs, where it's win or lose or go home, and it's just a different aura, a different feel about it?
Yeah, we our first goal for this football team this year was the Whitby region champ. Once we met that, then we got a conference game. We finished that out. Then we had Morristown East. We said from that point on, our next goal. There's been 7 football teams in school history to be undefeated during the regular season, and we want to do that as a football team. So we said, at this point on, we've got to go 1-0 each week. So going into that Morristown East week, we treated it like a playoff week, just where with the mindset, we got to continue to win. We wanted to meet that goal to go 10-0, and then we've really cranked it up this week with the mindset, it's win or go home. We gave those kids off on Monday. Then we challenged them 3 days, a really tough practice. And then I gave them the day off today. But, it's been a really good week of practice. Those kids are dialed in. Like I talked about, I got great senior leadership. They want to do something special. So I'm expecting a, exciting playoff run with this group.
So many people got to know the name Jacoby Gillespie this past basketball season when he led them to a state championship. He was the 5-star Preps boys basketball player of the year. Then he committed to Belmont, I think, during the summer. Now he's starting to get Division I FBS football offers from Virginia Tech, from Vanderbilt. For people who are watching this special tonight who haven't seen Jacoby Gillespie play, can you describe his skill set and why FBS programs are starting to finally take notice?
One thing about Jacoby, he didn't play football as a sophomore in high school. He played as a freshman, and then he took that sophomore year off. He thought he was just going to concentrate on basketball. Then he decided to come back out as a junior, and boy, are we excited that he did. He's such a special player, and anything that he's decided to do in his future. But just how explosive he is, the ability to go up and get a football, or what he can do on the basketball court. He's just a special player. His potential is going to be really shown at the next level, whatever he decides to do. Just as a great kid, I say it a lot of times, when your best couple players are your hardest workers, you're going to have a special football team, and that's what you get with him. That's why they were successful in basketball, and that's why we've been successful this year. He's a guy that shows up every day, and he's going to give you his all. He's going to compete against his teammates, want to make us better, and want to make another thing to make himself better.
So, do you know if he's entertaining these football offers? Is he still firmly committed for basketball, or has he even said? I know he's a kind of a quiet guy anyway. Yeah,
he's a quiet guy. Right now he's firmly committed. He's going to play basketball at Belmont, but it's exciting for this football team, this football program, for him to get that recognition. And we'll just see what the future holds for him.
I know we've talked and others have talked about him possibly being in the mix for Mr. Football, and so should Mason Gudger. I know you've talked about that on record, about him possibly being a Mr. Football, not just finalist, but maybe a winner. How special of a player is he, and of a season has he had?
With Gudger, he's played maybe 3-4 quarter games all season. Those other games I've took him, some of the games I took him out in the first quarter, and then he played the second quarter, and he's putting up the numbers he's put up. And, majority of the games, he'd come out at halftime, and I'm not putting him in there the rest of the game just because, the type of guy he is. He wants everybody else to get some touches of the football. And, we're going to have to be successful in the playoffs. We're going to get the ball to those special players, so we don't take the chance, getting him injured. But, he's had a really special year. I think he only touched it 126 times. He's got about 1,300 yards. He's got 28 touchdowns on the season. So, it's he's a special player. He's averaging over 10 yards a carry when he touches the football. Like I said before, he could have rushed for a lot more yards, but that's not the player he is. He don't care about the individual awards. He really cares about how successful he went as a football team.
You joined us on 5 Star Live earlier in the season, and I'll kind of ask you this again, but are you having more fun? Are you more comfortable in this second go-around with Greenville? Not just because of wins, but just it's probably a little bit easier on you just how things went down compared to the first year, right?
Yeah, for sure. The first year you're dealing with all the COVID issues we're dealing with, and not that stuff's relaxed as much, but it's not as strenuous on you, and you're still dealing with some of that stuff. But I'm telling you what, the thing that makes this year so fun is that this group of kids that I get to coach. They're exciting today. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that Coach Crawford's tweeted out, but we had a big Halloween party this afternoon with, I'm dressing up, all my players dressing up, the Booster Club's bringing us stuff to eat for those kids. It's just a special group. This time, it's tough to be in our program, the stuff that we're going to require our kids to do and how hard we're going to work them. So we got to make sure we're, having a bunch of fun when we're doing stuff. I've tried to make sure that we're doing that. We had did a lot of stuff during the summer. We had extra time after workouts, and I've kind of continued that stuff during the year. It's just a special group of kids. A lot of times, every team that I've been a part of that's really been, a state championship team or have been really special, had a long run in the playoffs. It's been a close group, fun group to be around. You've had a lot of talented teams that might not be fun to be around, and you're going to be decent, but, your time's going to come to the end probably in most cases. But this is a group, it's fun to be around. We enjoy practice. They enjoy just hanging around after practice. We got to run them out of there, out of the field house at the end of the day. But, it's been a special year, and for us to do what we've done with such a tough schedule, right now there's still 3 teams on our schedule that's still ranked in the top 10 in their different classifications. So, it's been a special year. We knew it was going to be. We had a chance to be special, but when we put this schedule together, we didn't know how it ended up. We knew we'd be a good football team at the end of the year, and I think we've, continued to build and be better each week. And I think we're at our best right now. And it's exciting to see how far we can go in the playoffs.
I didn't get to see the pictures. What was your go-to Halloween outfit?
We got a what we call Bill's Crew. It's one of our coaches gets out there, and we take all our skilled guys, and some are more skillful linemen that want to get involved in it. We just do some extra stretching. They've got shirts, and the coaches dressed up. So, I aggravate some of my young coaches. They got the tights on and all that good stuff. So I dressed up in what they wear out there to warm up. Off sleeves, and I had a old school red-headed mullet that I had in our office with a Jordan headband on.
Nice.
So our kids come in there, and they couldn't hardly recognize who was standing there. Like I said, just trying to have fun with those kids. When those kids know you really care about them, and they mean a lot to you, they're going to play a lot harder for you. And that's what we got going on with our team right now.
Absolutely. Well, Eddie, man, thanks so much for joining us tonight on the pregame show, and wish you guys the best of luck in your quest for a 4A state championship starting next week.
Hey, man, thanks for having us. And as always, go Devil, man.
All right. That's Eddie Spradlin. All righty. That's Eddie Spradlin, head football coach at Greenville High School. 10-0 on the year. They'll be a 1 seed. And as we talked about at the top of that segment, who will they play? I can't give you all the scenarios off the top of my head. I can read them, it's going to be the 4 seed out of Region 2-4A. And so Fulton and Carter, South Doyle and Gibbs are in the mix of that. I'll try to read some of this. So if Fulton loses to Carter and South Doyle loses to Gibbs, then Fulton will be a 3 seed, Gibbs will be a 4 seed in play at Greenville. If Fulton loses tonight and South Doyle beats Gibbs, Fulton will be a 4 seed in play at Greenville. And there's, as Eddie mentioned, there's even a scenario where South Doyle could be a 4 seed and playing up at Greenville. So Eddie Spradlin and that staff at Greenville definitely going to have an interested eye in the Carter and Fulton game tonight. That game is at Fulton, I believe. Also have South Doyle and Gibbs. South Doyle really been struggling of late, playing 1-4 in their last 5 games. A lot of close losses. Sean Gary's been putting up big-time numbers for South Doyle, but just haven't been getting those wins that they need. So those are 2 of the games that we'll have an eye on tonight. We'll bring you halftime updates, score updates, and so much more from around the area. We're going to unveil playoff brackets later on tonight on the 5-Star Preps live post-game show. We're going to catch a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a look around the area at a few key games you need to keep an eye on before games kick off at 7 o'clock. Stay with us right here on 5-Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
Coker Rental Company is your hometown go-to spot to rent equipment and tools. We offer fast delivery on late model, low hour, boom lifts, excavators, track skid steers, scissor lifts, and more. Coker Rental Company prides itself on great customer service and providing the best equipment and tools give us a call today at 865-457-1478 and let us be your go-to rental company for your next project.
Men's Grooming Studio is Knoxville's premier barbershop. Conveniently located in the center of K-Town, Tapered will have you feeling and looking your best. We offer walk-in appointments, and we specialize in haircuts for both young and old. Our master barbers will give you the best haircut you can find in a style that is unique to you. Come and see us today or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
All right, welcome back into 5-Star Live, presented by Waffle House. This is the final segment. Again, I remind you, if you're watching in the stadium or watching at home, come back at halftime. We're going to have some highlights. We're going to talk about some games going on around the area and how that could affect seating. But on this last segment, I do want to take you kind of around the area, give you some games to keep an eye out for tonight. One is out in West Knoxville, CAK in Silverdale. That's for a 2 seed. Remember, CAK was undefeated last year. They got the 1 seed. Everything's kind of going their way. They've had to fight a little bit harder this year, but they are taking on a really good Silverdale team for a 2 seed. Carnes already has the 2 seed. They will host a first-round playoff game. A lot of people have an interested eye in Deshaun Bishop. He's got 2,604 yards going into Week 11. Can he get to the 3,000 yard plateau before the end of the regular season? I know Clinton wants to have a say in that and stop that from happening. Bearden and Farragut, doesn't get better than that. Big time West Knoxville rivalry. The winner gets into the 6A playoffs. The loser goes home. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, we kind of thought Bearden was in when they upset Cleveland in week 9, but that wasn't the case. They're going to have to beat their rival Farragut at Farragut to get into the 6A playoffs. Neither one of those teams has missed the postseason since 2014. Catholic, definitely in the Division II AAA playoffs. They could be as high as a 2 seed or as low as a 5 seed tonight, depending on what they do against Montgomery Bell Academy and what some other teams do, so keep an eye on that. Loudon and Kingston, we mentioned that in 3A, 4 region championship. Kingston has not won a region championship since 2000. Loudon thought they had it won last year, and then an upset happened in week 10. They had to take on a team in week 11 for a region championship, did not get that. So I know they want to make amends from last year. So we're going to keep you updated on Loudon and Kingston tonight. We gave you the outline last segment about Carter and Fulton and just all the craziness that can ensue from that game, plus the South Doyle-Gibbs game. West and Central. We saw Central did 5-star live from Central High School a week ago in week 10, a team that's really rolling right now. Got 6 wins in a row. They're going to West High School playing for a Region 2 championship there. Nevertheless, both teams will still host playoff games in the first round next week. Maryville takes on Bradley Central, and I know everybody says Maryville's going to win that game. Maryville has not lost in October since 1997. I said that right. 1997 was the last time Maryville lost a football game in October. They have not lost a region game to a region opponent since 2000. That year they started off 0-4, had the counterfeit scandal that made them start off 0-4, but they still won a state championship that year. But it's been a long, long time since Maryville lost a region game, and that's a really good Bradley Central team. So just kind of keep an eye on that in the first half, see if they keep it close. Campbell County, Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge with just 2 wins this year, but 2 region wins. They can get a 3 seed tonight if they beat Campbell County. Most likely, if they lose, they're going to be a 4 seed. So Campbell County, Oak Ridge, keep an eye on that game. Looking down the docket, not too much else out there. Do want to tell you that Powell receiver, Jaden Collins, his mom announced today on Twitter that he is having surgery. Remember, he got hurt in that game against Catholic. He was their leading receiver last year, had over 500 yards this year through 8 games before he got hurt in that game against Catholic. So how that will affect Powell's offense, we don't know. We talked with Kevin Smith, our co-host, last week about that. He thinks they might have to bring in one of their skill guys, put him into that slot receiver role, and see if they can make a plan on the fly. So those are just a few of the games to keep an eye on tonight. Again, I remind you, come back at halftime, come back after the games tonight. We're going to have so much information, highlights, and everything going into the TSSAA postseason. Going to be exciting. It's bracket time. Stay with us on 5-Star Live all night long, presented by Waffle House.
You're watching 5-Star Live, presented by Waffle House. East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other games around East Tennessee. Your hosts, Jesse and Kevin Smith, with decades of experience covering and coaching high school sports, along with the 5-Star Preps team, will update you on games as they become final, and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5-Star Live.